Dr. Emanuel Hostin, an orthopedic surgeon and husband of The View co-host Sunny Hostin, is accused in December lawsuit fraudulently billing insurance. By the way, this is a Daily Caller story I'm reading. The lawsuit alleges Hostin knowingly provided fraudulent medical and other healthcare services in exchange for kickbacks and or compensation, and names him among nearly 200 defendants in one of New York's largest RICO cases.
For more, we go to our chief Sunny Hostin correspondent for a reaction.
What happens when the queen of legal hot takes suddenly finds her own doorstep under siege? We're diving into the jaw-dropping moment. Greg Gutfeld and Tyrus turn the tables on Sunny Hostin, silencing her like never before after her husband was publicly implicated in a staggering $450 million RICO lawsuit. From New York courtrooms to live TV roasts, this story has it all. Hypocrisy laid bare, ancestry secrets weaponized, and social media in full meltdown.
31% of Americans trust our healthcare system. We have a terrible healthcare system. And, you know, doctors suffer because of big corporations as well. Doctors that want to do good, like my husband, you know, operates on someone even though they don't have insurance and then has to sue health insurance companies to get paid for the work that he's been trained his whole life to do.
If you thought you had seen every pundit meltdown, buckle up, because when moral crusaders get a taste of their own medicine, the fallout is nothing short of explosive. In December 2024, Dr. Emanuel Hostin and nearly 200 co-defendants were named in a major civil lawsuit filed by American Transit Insurance Company in federal court. The insurer accuses them of participating in a large-scale healthcare fraud scheme.
And it is funny. She is so wrapped up in identity, and she had no idea who she was.
Billing for procedures that never happened, collecting illicit kickbacks, and funneling funds through shell corporations. Allegations that could make this one of the largest RICO actions of its kind in New York. With a staggering $450 million at stake, the lawsuit lays out everything from questionable paperwork to outright conspiracy. Hostin's camp has flatly denied the claims, calling the suit meritless and an insurer's ploy to dodge legitimate payouts.
That will go after white America and talk about them like dogs. That doesn't represent our ideals or values for anyone. And get rid of those people, and this will clear up real quick. So do you have to actually look in the mirror and clean up your own backyard and get the racist people out? Because that's who you allowed in. You allowed black racist on TV who could just go all day and say anything about white people. And I guess lo and behold, they forgot that there's a lot of people at home, white people at home during the day that are not watching your show anymore. So just clean it up.
Yeah, you know, Emily.
As this high-profile civil battle heats up, everyone from legal analysts to daytime TV hosts is watching to see which way it will swing. But that was just the beginning. Sunny Hostin built her brand on dissecting other people's legal messes, treating every lawsuit like a spectator sport. Yet when cameras rolled on The View, the very week the Hostin RICO complaint broke, something extraordinary happened. Zero commentary, no pointed questions, no impassioned analysis.
Hostin's obsession with race gets thrown back in her face. Today's video comes to us from Sunny Hostin. Sounds like a town. We're in Sunny Hostin. She was on PBS's Finding Your Roots, a show dedicated to researching celebrity ancestry. For context, Sunny is a staunch supporter of reparations and has made a fortune spewing nonsense about white privilege and racial justice. Well, turns out she's not as oppressed as she claims she is. She's actually the descendant of slave owners from Europe.
Just a few hurried glances and a conspicuous change of subject. Imagine the silence in that studio, an eerie contrast to the usual verbal fireworks. Viewers at home stared, jaws dropped, convinced their screens had glitched. When the resident legal eagle goes mute, you know someone hit a nerve. Meanwhile, two roasters on the other side of the dial saw an opening they couldn't resist. Enter Greg Gutfeld, Fox News' deadpan maestro of mockery.
Sunny Hostin, who thinks climate change caused the solar eclipse, the dumbest of them all. Because everyone knows the moon caused the eclipse, which is controlled by the View's gravitational pull.
With impeccable timing, he opened his segment by asking, would Sunny like to come on our show to chat about accountability? It was delivered with the kind of smirk that says, I already know the answer. Gutfeld didn't waste time on fluff. He contrasted The View's moral lecterns with Sunny's sudden refusal to weigh in on her husband's case. Every line was precision cut, each pause loaded with irony. He even joked about how she'd once pounded the air with claims of justice.
But who's the dumbest one of all? True, none of them are in Mensa, but who's the most densa? Perhaps it's Sunny who mastered the art of making idiots look smart. Now, The View could ask a mirror who's the dumbest one of all, but there's no way that glass doesn't shatter.
Only to vanish when her own world got rocked. His final zinger, offering Sunny a seat at the accountability table, was the mic drop this roast deserved. But Gutfeld only set the stage for an even sharper takedown. Then Tyrus strolled in, oversized jacket, and chill swagger intact, like a boxer entering the ring. He opened with, "Looks like the only thing Sunny's prosecuting now is her TV ratings."
All that, and the price of butter. Sunny gets the game ball. If it wasn't for her, asking that question, it might have been a closer election. Listen, they're bitter, they're angry, they're entitled. They also should be. This should have been a reset for everyone who pushed lies and misinformation for the last. They called him Hitler. They call these things. America rejected them, and instead of coming back and saying we lied, they instead are now doubling down. So let her keep doing it, because if she keeps that up, we're going to keep getting the Senate and probably the House and the White House, because people see right through your lies. So keep doing what you're doing. Game ball to Sunny.
From there, he hammered home the contrast between her past firebrand's passionate monologues on corruption, media bias, you name it, and her current deer-in-the-headlights posture. He quipped about how she'd once thrown the gavel like a judge at a rap battle, yet now couldn't muster a single question in her own studio. Every punchline landed with a sting, and by the end, viewers were howling at home. His delivery was dry, relentless, and hilariously unforgiving.
Of time. You're right. Anytime she says something stupid, I'm going to go, slave owner! Kat, I just watched that. That's the second time I've watched that. She was tipped off beforehand, right? Because they had to tell her before, so she had time to regroup. They wouldn't just surprise. Really? You think? No?
I don't know. I feel like she could have maybe done better. Okay, here's the thing. One thing, and I would have even actually not give her any, is she said, well, I guess that's just what they did back then.
Yeah.
She should have followed that up with saying something along the lines of, and I understand that that's a departure from the way I've talked about this before.
The perfect complement to Gutfeld's surgical approach. But the most astonishing bombshell was still waiting in the wings. Just when it seemed Sunny couldn't get hit with more scrutiny, a 2024 episode of Finding Your Roots aired and dropped a historical twist no one saw coming. In vivid detail, it revealed Hostin's lineage included both enslaved ancestors and a third great-grandfather who owned at least one enslaved person. Her stunned reaction on The View showed the emotional weight, but critics weren't as sympathetic.
It's not even that. In The View, you don't need to find Trumpers. You need to fire your race baiters.
Yeah.
You need to fire the two races. You've had people. You had a McCain on there. You've had people on there before, and you ran them off. Mm-hmm. So the racist ones who want to stick to this, Whoopi and Sunny, and was it Bette Midler? What's her name? Yeah, broke-ass Bette Midler. Fire them and bring people in. Maybe you could get McCain to come back.
Gutfeld wasted no time highlighting the irony. A reparations advocate descended from a slaveholder. For some, it was uncomfortable history. For others, it was karma served cold. And the internet devoured every frame. And speaking of meltdowns, back on The View, the rest of the hosts could only watch from the sidelines. Whoopi's trademark quips fell flat. Joy Behar looked like she'd forgotten her next line. Even Ana Navarro's feisty glare lost its spark. For a show that thrives on jumping down politicians' throats.
That's not what I read. The true sign of the apocalypse is someone that dumb has a law degree. Worse, if your name has the word sun in it, there's no excuse for not knowing how an eclipse works. But it's no surprise that Joy is the one who understands science. She's been on the science diet for years.
It was radio silence on their own turf. Meanwhile, Twitter lit up with memes comparing this fiasco to FTX and Enron, and TikTokers remixed every awkward pause into viral sound bites. Comments poured in, "Sunny's mute button needs unmuting," and "Is this the View or theater of the absurd?" The digital backlash was swift and merciless, proof that in 2025, audiences won't let anyone off easy. Yet beyond the jokes and memes lies a deeper twist. This isn't just Sunny Hostin's personal reckoning. It's a tacit indictment of the entire pundit class.
She is shaming descendants of this. Will she continue to do that when she is now one of them, Dana? And it is funny. She is so wrapped up in identity, and she had no idea who she was.
Well, now we understand why she always makes Whoopi get the coffee.
For years, networks have crowned themselves moral arbiters, doling out Judgment Day to anyone who missteps. But what happens when the judges get indicted? When the self-appointed gatekeepers of truth find their own skeletons rattling in the closet? Gutfeld and Tyrus didn't just serve up laughs. They held up a mirror, revealing how fast outrage can evaporate when it's no longer convenient. They reminded everyone that the loudest voices are often the first to go silent. And as the dust settles, one question remains.
Anna went in a different direction. But I love the fact that, Manny is younger and he's
How much younger is he?
Just a little bit.
He's like 1 year, isn't he? Like a month or a year or 10 years?
5 years. It's more than a year.
Oh.
Anyway, it's not about me. I think I think that it's very helpful that he's handy, and when we travel, I'm not picking up any bags. He's the one that's hefting them overhead. He throws the garbage out. Right. He does the heavy stuff.
Sunny Hostin's reputation took a direct hit in a courtroom none of us could have scripted. Whether she'll reclaim her throne or retreat into strategic quiet remains to be seen. One thing's certain, Greg, Gutfeld, and Tyrus have redefined what accountability looks like in modern media. They turned a $450 million scandal into the ultimate roast, reminding us that no one is too big to be humbled. If moral crusaders hope to survive the next round, they'll need more than catchphrases. They'll need consistency, transparency, and the courage to face their own judgments. If you enjoyed this deep dive, smash that like button, subscribe for more insider breakdowns, and don't forget to ring the bell so you never miss an explosive update. This is Sasha Spills signing off. I'll see you in the next video.